Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I want to talk about what I think are the 5 best heroes of Dota. It's been a while since I made one of these videos where I kind of just go over what I think is specifically good, like what in the meta is the best. And so yeah, this is not for a specific role. I kind of just want to keep you guys updated on what I think overall is like very meta right now, very good. So I'm going to be covering 5 heroes, but I'm going to have a couple of honorable mentions because honestly, there's a lot of heroes I want to talk about, but they don't all fit on the list. So let's get into it. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the GameLeap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the GameLeap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. All right, so getting into our honorable mentions, I have 4 honorable mentions, which I'm going to spend less time on, so let's get into it. Starting off, we have Underlord, who has a 58% win rate at the Berlin Major, and this hero is arguably the best aura buyer in the game right now. There's quite a few heroes that can buy auras, such as Beastmaster, Doom, actually those are probably the most popular too, but we've seen things like Ogre Magi offlane buying auras and Darkseer, so there's quite a few heroes, but I think Underlord still stands as the best one. Just buying Vanguard on this hero and being able to provide so much damage and utility in fights, as well as the ability to move around the map, now that the map is really big, is very valuable. And you can do all of that while buying the best items in the game, at least what I think are the best items in the game right now, and that is, Pipe, Crimson. Those are probably the main 2, and then Greaves in 3rd. All right, then we have Pugna. This is kind of a cool hero to be putting on this list because Pugna has not been good for a long time, but Death Ball and these aura comps are very popular right now. So why is Pugna good right now? Pugna's good right now because he's very good in the meta. He likes when his team buys a bunch of auras, can group up and play as a ball. Pugna hates, and I mean hates, when the game just becomes like a run around, farm the map, out farm the enemy type Dota. Like in these types of games, Pugna does nothing. He prefers when people group up to take Roche, group up to take towers, and at some point in the current meta, Pugna tends to do that. He's also very good in the lane, and he's extremely good at enabling a lot of the top meta heroes, and so that's a big reason he's good as well. And in the most recent patch, they made it where if you decrepify your teammate, you heal them for 20% when decrepify is maxed out. 20% more, I should specify. And that's obviously huge. So you play to heal your teammates, you play to stay in the backline, glimmer them, decrep them, and just keep them alive. So it's just really hard to kill people when the enemy team has a Pugna. Then is Oracle, who only has 6 games played at the Major, so I can't say too much. It is 4-2, but I've been harping on how much I like this hero right now. I just think it works kind of similar to a Pugna. The problem with Oracle is it's a weaker laner. We saw Gaming Gladiators pick it against the Darkseer as their actually last pick of their draft, and it works wonders because it can win that lane. You know what I mean? So if Oracle can do well in the lane, let's say you see the matchups, and Darkseer probably being the best one, and then you can pick Oracle, this is like the best hero in Dota. I really believe that. It does quite a bit of damage. The heals are just insane. The shard is broken. I really believe in Oracle right now. The laning stage is the problem. I really believe that. And the early games sometimes can be rough when you're only level 4. Occasionally you can feel pretty bad about your hero. And then finally, for the honorable mentions, we have Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is a hero in Dota right now that is so obnoxious. It's just so damn obnoxious. And the amount of small items that you can buy on Bounty Hunter to just be untouchable is ridiculous. Like, I had a Bounty Hunter in my game who had the Pavis, so he has 300 physical block, and that item gives HP and mana regen too, and armor. Like, that item is insane. The Pavis item, insanely good. So he had one of those. He had a Vanguard, Magic Wand, he had Boots, Drums. This guy's running around with okay, let's say he has 6k, 7k gold, which is a good amount, right? That's a good amount of gold for a support, but he's Bounty Hunter, his team was winning, so he's doing quite well. He has all of these tank items, all of these small items that don't cost a lot of gold, and he's untouchable. Running around, stunning people, providing vision, and then just providing useful items. He eventually went into a Crimson Guard, and from there I think he went Pipe because the game really stalled out, and he just provided these really useful auras coming from the position 4 role. And it can be also played as a 5. A lot of teams are playing it as 5. It's a good laner now too. The Blood Grenade plus Orb of Venom, or just Blood Grenade in general with Bounty Hunter, is so much kill threat. Like, this hero can just show up in your lane using the portal, and you're dead. You can't see him coming, because obviously he's invis, and, well, unless you place a sentry, which some teams are trying to do, but it's hard. It's a very fast hero, it has 8 base armor, and I think it works well in buying small items in this current meta. Alright, now let's talk about the 3rd most picked hero of the Major. The third most picked hero of the major is Keeper of the Light. Keeper of the Light is shockingly good. Like, I didn't think it was this good. It currently has a 62% win rate, and I think this mostly comes down to the fact, well, a couple of reasons, okay. Mid laners right now that are good, Storm, Pango, Ember, Void Spirit, very popular heroes. Incredibly good with Coddle. Coddle's very good at refreshing the cooldowns, the low cooldowns and deadly cooldowns of Ember, Pango. Pretty good with Storm, not necessarily the cooldowns as much. I mean, it's not bad, right? If you can Q twice, it's pretty powerful. It's just a little bit harder to do. And then with Void Spirit, all these heroes need mana. They all love the cooldown reduction, Storm a little bit less, but you get the point. He plays very well with there. He also lanes very well with heroes that don't need him at some point. Coddle tends to do pretty well in the early levels, and then falls off over time. That generally is how Coddle goes. However, you pair him with a Doom, an Underlord, an Alch, a Beast. You know what I mean? These heroes buy their tank item, and then you can leave them alone. If they're having a good lane, you can continue to kill people. And my position 4 players have been telling me, and I definitely agree with him, that the Blinding Light at level 1 plus Blood Grenade kind of just kills people, which is why out of 70 games, Coddle has won 44, putting him at 44-26, a 62.86% win rate at the major, and I certainly think that his ability to farm out waves is incredible right now. I kind of mentioned it with Bounty Hunter. If you can buy these small items, you're just a menace. It's just too good to have a Glimmer, Pavis, Solar Crest, Coddle. Like, if one team has this support player buying these types of items and the other support's buying an Axe, like I had a Disruptor Russian Axe. I wanted to blow my brains out. Why would you ever... I was playing Doom? I literally can Doom people. Why would you rush an Axe on Disruptor? Like, this guy griefed our early game. You know, I'm not going to say it's the reason we lost. There's plenty of reasons. But he griefed the early game itemization to rush an Axe when I'm due. But, you know, I don't want to rant to you guys too much. Get the point. Just buy the small items. And Coddle is very great at that. And the fact that now he has Blinding Light at level 1 instead of a useless Solar Bind at level 1 is incredible. Way, way better as a spell. And then having max Solar Bind at level 6 when this ability actually becomes useful is even better. So the scaling of Coddle is just incredible. His laning stage is solid. Farms well in the current meta of 1 billion camps and farm and so on. Just very good in the meta. Then we have Alchemist. Alchemist, to I think no one's surprise, at least not to my surprise, is doing very well at this major. It's a pretty flexible hero, and yet almost every team is putting it either mid or safe lane. It's pretty funny to me that this hero is being played mid and safe lane and not offlane and safe lane, because I think offlane Alchemist is actually very, very good and super solid. Like, I think it's super solid. So I'm just surprised more teams aren't trying to run it. I don't even think you buy auras. Like, you might be thinking, oh, you mean like aura alch? No, I don't think aura alch is good, but you can go like kind of the build people are going mid. This like phase boots armlet, blink if you want to offlane. You can scale if you're having a good game. Like, the laning stage is super solid. Like, you can go a Vanguard build if it lets you lane certain lanes. I've personally gone like Dread's Armlet, and it feels incredible. So I just feel like there's a lot of routes you can go on this hero, and really the main reason, though, I think Alchemist is high win rate, outside of the flexibility from mid to safe lane, is he's just too good. like, ever since they made it where Greevil's Greed, you get level 2 Greevil's Greed at level 1. So every bounty rune your team gets, you get double the gold. So at level 1, your team gets 2 runes, you get 160 gold instead of 80. That's massive. Then at the 3-minute runes, you get 100 per, instead of like the 50-ish, whatever it is. I don't actually know. But you get the point, right? You get a ton of extra gold from the start. Then for every CS you get 3, then 6, then 9, then 12, then 15, and then up to 18 gold per CS if you CS consistently. I mean, it's ridiculous. The amount of gold Alchemist gets in the early laning stage, it's really brutal to lane against. He's always going to have an extra set of tangos if he needs, an extra salve, mango, whatever it is. He's going to be able to buy those items early on, or gloves of haste, boots, doesn't matter. He can always have it because of the fact that he gets too much bonus gold from the runes and then too much extra gold from CS, something he couldn't do before. Because if you wanted to do that, first of all, it was worse with the runes previous to this patch. And if you wanted extra gold, you couldn't, by the way, you couldn't skill Concoction. And so you came into this horrible place where if you skilled Acid and Concoction to fight the lane, you didn't have bonus gold, so you couldn't afford most items. If you didn't last it well, you couldn't buy anything. And you would get into a spot where you would have 2 mana intensive spells on a strength hero and you couldn't sustain it. Now you can, because you have the extra gold. And these things snowball on top of each other because you always would want both, but you could never have both. You could go a 1-1-1 build, but it was too late. By the time you skilled the Greevil's Greed, you had mana problems. Now, all these problems are gone. There's 1 billion camps on the map. And so Alchemist, he's a beast. He's a beast. Alright, then let's get into Beastmaster. I really think that Beastmaster, unfortunately, is not a good recommendation for a lot of you guys. Don't take too much offense to that. I'm just being real. Like, I think this hero is hard to play, okay? The laning stage is a little bit clunky. You gotta know when to use axes, when to pull aggro. But the thing is, Wild Axes being only 50 mana instead of 65, it's 50 mana flat out, is insane. This hero being universal feels pretty good as well. You can stat spam early on, and it definitely makes the laning stage feel pretty nice. You can have like 60 base damage, which is definitely very cool, very cool. And then from, yeah, if you just go like mana boots, you have infinite mana. You can spam out the lane. You literally never run out of mana now. With if you start Wand, 3 branches, then you go Tangos, then typically you just go Mana Boots. If you go this build, you just spam axes, and you're quite a good laner. Like, this hero has been known for having a bad lane, but you're pretty good. Like, just because of how spammable axes are, you just chuck them and 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 chuck them, and you just chip people down and down and down and down. And eventually, when you hit level 3, they get stronger, and you keep chucking them and chucking them. You hit level 5, and you keep chucking them and chucking them. Like, I beat a Slarkin lane. But really, the main reason that I'm a huge fan of Beastmaster is his ability to farm incredibly fast. Beastmaster farms disgustingly fast. Like, I can't even... The only other hero that truly compares to the rate of farming of Beastmaster in the offlane right now, like offlaners that are close to him, are Doom, who's literally a gold-creating machine, right? Alchemist, which is not even played as an offlaner, but yeah. And that's it. Like, maybe Underlord, but Underlord can't even farm close to the speed of Beastmaster. So what you do as Beastmaster is, if your game is good and they don't have like creep eating things, you go Helm Dom 2 and you just farm everything. And you farm literally everything. And then after that, now that you have a Vlad's to provide to your team and a creep to fight, then you go Crimson and then Pipe or whatever is needed in the game. And you just flash farm these ore items. Like, you can have 12k gold before the enemy carry has like 10k. You can outfarm everyone if you get good at it. The thing is, you need to learn how to use the board to stack the Tri-Camp and to stack the Ancient Camp. Like, no joke, you know how there's 2 Ancient Camps now, guys? In the offlane, you can use a board to stack the Tri-Camp Ancient, and the Tri-Camp Large Camp, and you can Wild Axes the other Ancient. You can stack 3 camps, including 2 Ancient Camps that you can farm when you hit level 7 at the same time. And then you can push out the creep wave. And then when you have a Helm creep, you can take the tower and continue to farm every camp and wild axes to camps that are close to each other, which is a lot of them. You throw the axes in between. If you maximize efficiency on this hero, it is insane. Its win rate currently at the major is a staggering 68.5% win rate. 68.5. Ridiculous, because it's, in theory, a counterable hero. Storm's pretty good against it, who's meta right now. Alchemist ban. Doom's not that good. Coddle is pretty good against Beast. CM, who's very popular right now, good against Beast. But the thing is, like, it's just too good. Even if you beat him in the lane, you can go jungle the normal jungle. Like, this hero on Radiant or Dire, if his lane is really crap, I've seen pros at level 5, when their lane doesn't go well, just normal jungle. So it's just a very reliable hero, does a lot. Hawks, good. Great, probably the best spell in the game in a lot of regards. Like, it's a low cooldown ward on a map where it's impossible to de-ward and there's not enough vision to go around. I'll stop harping on Beastmaster. Let's get into the second best hero, and that's Terrablade, which, once again, I wish you guys were better at Dota, because I'm not gonna lie. Terrablade's Dota buff win rate is not high enough to justify me putting it number 2, but at the major, it is a very crazy, similar to Beastmaster, 68% win rate, 68.75, 22 and 10. And every time I play against Terrablade in pubs, unless I'm Underlord, even when I'm Underlord, I just made the video yesterday. Hopefully a lot of you guys watched it and enjoyed that. I love making those analysis for you guys, the replay analysis, a lot of fun. Hopefully you take a lot out of those videos. They're a blast for me to make, and I think they're very educational, but whatever. I like playing Underlord against TV because you can, Atrophy Aura, Crimson, Greaves, you can shut down his damage. But even then, the lane is so hard against Terrablade. It's too hard. Now they gave, this hero was a dominant laner, and they're just like, yeah, let's make it where Reflection lowers attack speed. What a great idea. Let's just make it where Reflection lowers attack speed more than Inner Beast gives attack speed at level 1. Let's just do that, right? It wasn't good enough that Terrablade gets bonus movement speed, and it becomes a range hero, and hits for a bonus, 30? You get an extra 30 damage from meta at level 1, you can't lane against this hero. And you might be like, oh, okay, so it's a lane dominator that falls off. I wish, except it's like the best hero in the mid game. Because it pushes in all the camps. If it's having a bad game, it just farms all the defensive camps, which obviously Terrablade has no problem doing with the maxed out illusions. It farmed all the camps, it takes the objectives, it pushes out creep waves, which is kind of risky to do in the current meta. It's hard to D-ward, so like heroes that have to like run around and farm, like Sven for instance, can struggle if the game's not going well, right? Because you're just gonna get seen a lot of the time by these wards that are hard to D-ward because there's a lack of sentries, right? That was one of the changes in the recent patch that was really significant to Dota. And so yeah, it's very clear to me that Terrablade is one of the better heroes in Dota right now. You have to know how to play it. Like, I wanted to make this video as like not pub friendly as possible because sometimes I'll make these videos and I'll specify at the beginning, this is for pubs strictly. I wanted to really talk about what I think are the highest potential heroes, high skill ceiling heroes in Dota, and Terrablade, it's just ridiculous. The map play, how well it synergizes with auras. It loves having auras on its team. Like a pipe is so good for Terrablade, right? Because the way to beat Terrablade, theoretically, is to burst him with magic damage. That's always what it's been. But that's hard when people are rushing pipe. Everyone's buying force staffs and glimmers, and you know, you can, as I said, go the glimmer, you can buy a solar crest for your TP. Everyone's buying drums, which is so good for Terrablade. You needed drums with Terrablade. Right? These illusion heroes really benefit, I think, from the aura items, pipe in particular. And just definitely consider adding this to your repertoire if you want a bit of a challenge. And finally, if you don't want a challenge, you literally want no challenge, you don't want to think whatsoever, you just want to win the game automatically, you pick Medusa. Medusa is the best hero in Dota. There's no question about it. It is not even close. I literally don't think it's close. If you think Medusa is a bad hero, you have no concept of Dota. It got buffed way too hard. Snake costs 80 mana at level 1 instead of 140. It costs nearly half what it used to cost. Nearly half at level 1. It is way too spammable in the laning stage. People start the laning stage with 3 branches and a Bassi. You don't buy tangos on Medusa. You don't buy tangos. You buy a Bassi. Your HP regen is an item that lets your support spam spells. How is that ever balanced? Actually, it can be balanced because Medusa wasn't that broken at the beginning of the patch, which is why it got overbuffed in 7.33b, which makes Medusa's mana shield at max level. For every 4 damage someone deals to you, 1 mana. You have 70, basically, unless I don't understand the numbers correctly, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, which I know you guys love doing, you have 75% damage block. That is how it works. 75%. You can't kill Medusa. You can't gank her. She doesn't die to ganks. She's like the best laner in the game. She's like the best mid-game hero in the game. Her Manta illusions are unkillable because they have mana shield now. You can't clear her Mantas, so they just push out all your lanes and there's nothing you can do about it. She farms all of the camps on the map. The 8 billion camps on the map. Hits stupid timings, and you lose. There's nothing to say. And for the pro scene, it's a flex pick now. Which is hilarious. The hero's being played in the offlane as a nuker / tank. Why is Medusa, the staple of late game hard carries in Dota, the Divine Rapier hero, is buying Phylactery, Veil of Discord, Octarine, Ag, Shard. Bots. How are these? If you showed someone that inventory to someone who played Dota 5 years ago, they would guess Crystal Maiden, Zeus, Skywrath, not Medusa. But apparently it's viable. Medusa is so broken. It is so broken that you can play Medusa as a support. I have had support Medusas in my games and they own. Because the laning state, you have 2 spells at level 1. You know how Alch has 2 spells at level 1? Medusa has 2 fighting spells at level 1. She has 2 fighting spells at level 1. At least one of Alch's spells at level 1 is a farming spell. So it takes a little bit of time to come online, kind of. Unless you get 4 runes, then it's stupid. But you get the point. It is way too strong. So yeah, if you haven't played Medusa, you're not getting your free MMR and high MMR games. It's pick ban. In pubs, it's pick ban every game. Practically, I have not seen a game where it's not pick ban. People are first phase picking it straight up. You might be like, but just pick Anti-Mage. It has a favorable win rate against Anti-Mage. It does fine against PL. You just buy a Butterfly in those matchups. You buy a Butterfly, your teammates buy Crimson and Greaves, and you group up as a team, and Anti-Mage has Battle Fury Manta. You have Manta Scotty because you farm way faster than he does, and you're a way better laner than he is. And you group up, and he loses. The counters to Medusa, the mana burn heroes, don't come online fast enough to deal with her timing. And the auras, they're really bad against the auras. Until much later. Yeah, Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.